Alright, so this off the top, but this is about the Bible because it's all about narratives, and that's why everybody's perspective is gonna be different. Because I'm gonna tell you about what it means when it's talking about dragons. The beginning is telling how the world got taken over, and then the end is telling the revelations of the great awakening that we in now. Because this is the time to be alive. So it's based off a dragon, which is like if you ever played the game of Snake, and you know how the snake starts off as a dot and then it just keeps connecting and it keeps on going down and it gets longer and longer. That's the genetic line. That's basically that umbilical cord that we get cut from. So everyone is born literally like a dragon in the stomach, and then they come out, and it's very deep because you have to kill like your own self. Your body is a sacrifice, so you have to sacrifice something to God, and that's why Jesus was the principle in there because he sacrificed his body because he knew he had to give up his actual body to find his soul. And to find your soul, well, your body is a soul. To find your spirit is what's inside, and all of the names in the Bible are different. Again, narratives and narratives of how life is going to consist because you find out that your name is the first gift that you get. And what you get in the gift of a name, you got to find out what the name means because our name means something different. And now we're in a time where you can look up the meaning of your name, then you can look up other people that had your name. You can see the roles that they played, and you find out that's part of wordology is names itself. And that's why I be teaching about Jesus Carpenter. Carpenter is what's invented. So everybody that invents something has it named after them. So he created the Christ consciousness once he left from being Jesus Carpenter to Jesus Christ, because his family was the carpentry family, and they invented again houses. So we already again in houses of the Lord. And then another title was God itself, which is it's a meaning. It's a acronym. It's generational operative descendant or something like that, device, whatever you want to make it. But it's a title, and with that being a title, it's an actual high God. But everyone had different gods that they used to call on. But then they had to erase the different gods that people called on, so people didn't know the names of them. And when the book, when you read it, you can actually see which one of these guys that people are worshiping, because it tells you details of like what they symbols are. And it's like, so Moses was someone that was worshiping Zeus because of the symbol of the bull. And then when they say Moses lived for 800 years, it's saying how long his spirit lived. And then when it talks about different devils in that book, it's because what other families will view them as is devils because they might create something that somebody else doesn't like. So I go back to Apollo with my spirit, and Apollo is also written in the book as Apollyon the Destroyer, which is one of the dragons in Revelations, because it's a name that switches, and all names switches. Apollo also is considered Lucifer in the book for giving words to people, and words meaning sounds which get downloaded in people's subconscious that create some people to gain too much pride from what they hear or what they overcame or overcome. But it's also different devils, like Aries is also considered Satan, which is wrath. With wrath is the skin, which is the satin skin, because everyone's skin has different colors from the climate of the protection that they had to be under. And when you look at skin color, it tells the area of where people are from. So our body actually tells us a lot about our genetics. So like me being a black man, I had my skin, which actually changed itself because I was a lot darker, and I explain this in a lot of my stories. And then I got older pictures that I show when I was dark skinned, and I became lighter because that's part of the Indian heritage that I got. But then I also got small hands and small feet. Like I wear size 7 kids and 7.5 in men's. And then my hands ain't too much bigger than female hands because that's the Asiatic part in me. And then the Asian black males the Asian black people were the first people to discover America. And then they used to be called Lost Negrotos. But it was a word for like little niggas that they used to be called. So that actually was a term that they was called way before slavery. And then they actually got caught by Boston, up in Boston, and that's where leprechauns even come from. Like it's a whole bunch of symbolic things that tell you because they was on the hunt for gold, so they was going in the war with South America. So North America and South America was at war when Europe came over here, And when Europe seen them going at war, that's when they brought their slaves from Europe, which was some other black people, and they migrated them in here. And that's when they took capitalism over because they looked at it as it was what they call savagery. It was too many tribes in America, but America was literally called American because it was from the family of the Genghis Khan family. It's descendants of Genghis Khan. We got descendants of Jesus because Jesus' family last was in Paris with Mary Magdalene. So like history is so deep and names are so deep too. And when you study all these different family trees and origins and heritage, you really find out why everybody is in America now. Because the European development was supposed to come over here just to industrialize America, but then it's the tax system from British that's really messing up, and that's the Rothschilds family, who was also considered a dragon. When you see how they just kept coming down, and that's the family that Trump was fighting with this whole presidential debate. But then everybody want to talk Trump and Camilla, but then they also got Cornel West who's running too. So it's other candidates that's running. But when you got big money, you can always take over advertisements. And when it comes to advertisements, somebody that invented advertisements, they go back to Phineas, Phineas and Ferb. Phineas was somebody that invented advertisements because he always had people on two sides of the fence. It was gonna be people that loved him for his advertisements, and then it was gonna be people for the anticipation that he built up, and then it was gonna be people that hated him for the show. Because he was someone that always had to use somebody as a puppet for everything that he did because he invented the lottery. After he invented the lottery system and he ended up failing from that, he ended up because what he was doing was giving away prizes first with the lottery. People didn't like the prizes because he was giving away terrible prizes that he would just box up like was stuff he couldn't sell. And then after he did that, he started trying to give away money, and then that kind of got him bankrupt. So then once he left, he ended up getting this slave that he took to New York, which was this old lady, and she was so like old and blind and stuff that people after a while thought that she wasn't a real person. So he ended up advertising that, and then after she passed, he still advertised her autopsy to see if she was real or not. And then he tried to say that he got tricked by her. Then he ended up getting like a fake mermaid that he had to advertise, which was called the Fiji mermaid, Fiji water type stuff. And then you got like Phineas was just an inventor. He kept inventing stuff. And then he, what's something else he did? This is going off the top because like these documentaries that I'm just watching and learning and stuff. That's why spiritually, I just be having my YouTube on shuffle to just learn because learning about the whole history of the world is so fascinating. It's so crazy. Like everybody that rises to the top ends up falling once they do some petty stuff. So that's why it's dope. And Genghis Khan even got a descendant called the Lame. So like how we call people lame and stuff like that. There's Asian descent too. So that's why it's like dope to understand where our words come from. Man. Oh, I brought up Phineas too because he invented he had a dwarf that he had that used to act like he was Napoleon. He also had a woman that he never heard sing, but he used to had an opera and everything so like set up for her. Once she did sing, it like boosted her confidence anyway because she was about to lose her voice, so she didn't want to sing. So he had to pay to get her to sing for perform, but she wouldn't sing in front of him. Then finally she sung and he got mesmerized by it. But I brought up Phineas because Phineas and Ferb last name Fletcher, and then Fletcher is my last name, and then they go back to Liar Liar with Jim Carrey playing Fletcher. When I saw that as a kid, that always had me think like my family has to always speak the truth, and Apollo is the God of the truth, and that's funny. So that's why I'm like I ain't find out my spirit name until I was 23, and then it's 10 years now me just again trying to study the spirit that God showed on me, but I've been finding out like yeah, it's been a lot of prophets that see things through the sun itself. Like Joseph Smith is one. You got people that start actual quotes and stuff like that, but I don't want no type of followings because I do music. But I'm just trying to get lessons on like this world fascinating. You want to explore it. You want to like really get spiritually deep with the earth and find out how everything got taken over, how Europe even got control of America.